Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining early. We'll be starting shortly, approximately 5 minutes after 11 a.m., once the maximum number of participants have joined. Thank you for your patience.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, Varun, I can see that you're raising your hand. At this point of time, this meeting has been organized in a view-only manner. This information is for all other viewers as well. We'll be opening the floor to your questions via text. This has been done to establish a better sense of control over the meeting, considering the extremely large number of participants that we're facing in it. That said, let me introduce you to the build3 team that will be taking this session alongside. Abhimanyu is the co-founder of build3 and will be taking the Q&A session. Elton manages CoHub and would be taking us through the overview of the CoHub, which is our community space. Prakash is a member of our first cohort and one of our success stories, so to speak, from the build3 Impact Accelerator, and would be sharing his journey through the first cohort of the accelerator itself. Kritika works within the build3 Accelerator team and would be addressing your questions about the application and evaluation process. Lastly, I'm Prashant, and I would be helping you understand the what build3 stands for and what our objectives at build3 Impact Accelerator are. That's and done. We'd be waiting for another 2, 3 minutes before we proceed with the call to allow a fair number of participants to join in. And Varun Chawla, also co-founder at build3, has also joined the call, and he will be taking your questions when need be as well.
Thank you. I can speak now.
Just 2 more minutes, everyone. The patience would be worth it.
Prashant, ask a brain teaser to everyone.
I'd like to nominate you for that, Elton. All right. Without further ado, let's dive into the session. Good morning to one and all present in this session today. Thank you for attending it. And we hope that by the end of it, you would have absolute clarity about how the build3 Impact Accelerator can help turn your idea, your impact idea, into a fully functional startup and scale from there. We're here to support you and answer any questions that you may have. We request you to make note of your questions as we proceed through the presentation, as the question and answer session itself would be towards the last 20 minutes. That said, let me take you through the overview of the presentation. The first four sections would be covering an introduction to build3 and the explanation of the build3 Impact Accelerator that I'll be taking up. The application and evaluation process, which is section 3, would be taken up by Kritika. Section 4, which is introduction to CoHub, which is a community space where the build3 Impact Accelerator happens, would be taken up by Elton. Section 5, which is the primary reason most of you must be here, the question and answer session, would be taken up by Abhimanyu. And lastly, the conclusion would be taken up by the entire team, so to speak. It mostly consists of links that you can pursue at the end of the presentation. For any candidates concerned about missing any parts of this meeting, please rest assured we'll be providing you recordings and a PDF file of the deck at the end of the webinar. Thank you. Now we would be proceeding to the first section, which is an introduction to build3.
And I'm the random guy who will do bakwas once in a while.
All right, guys. Section 1, introduction to build3. So what exactly is build3? Build3, in the fewest words possible, is an impact startup studio based out of India. But what does an impact startup studio do in the first place? Well, it generates an ecosystem. Ours specifically is a community-based one to help founders scale from an idea stage to the stage where they can take their product to market in a scalable fashion. We call this the -1 to 1 stage, and our primary focus is to foster a sense of pushing sustainable development, personal development, wellness, reliance, wealth distribution, and so on, using this mechanism. Now, how we support startups is based on a certain methodology or approach that we follow, which is called the Sherpa approach. Now, some of you must have heard about this person called Sir Edmund Hillary, first person to scale Everest. Every mountaineer, everyone scaling a summit requires a Sherpa, a guide, to help them navigate through, I'd say, the tricky nooks and crannies of the path. And at the end of it, the entire purpose of a Sherpa is to assist and not to hinder. And that's what we want to do. When you translate it into terms of goals, we want to help 100,000 impact entrepreneurs achieve these goals. And the goal is to push forward on the UN Sustainable Development Goals. How we do it, how exactly we support these founders is through three things. The first thing being capability, which is what we can offer in the form of training, mentorship, and skills, basically a skill level contribution. The second part is the community part, which is living or associating with a group of like-minded people who are aligned towards the same outcomes as you are, at least on some levels. Now, these levels might be sustainable living. These levels might be filling a gap that you have in your team. For example, if you're looking for a tech co-founder and there's one in our community, then there is a possibility for some synergies to happen there. Or if you're a tech, or if you're a business co-founder and you're looking for a tech one, that way too. Moving on, the last part that we offer is access to capital, which is our way of saying, hey, your idea has reached a point where we believe that we can take it to market. It will help the world, it will help the planet, and it will generate profit with purpose. At that point, we give access to funding first to scale up to a to the PMF stage, and once you reach the PMF stage, to scale on further and go to market from there. Moving on from build 3's introduction, I'll enter the second section, which is the build3 Impact Accelerator, which is our specific program at build3 that helps us achieve these outcomes. The first question that comes up over here is, why does the accelerator exist in the first place? Why do something differently from all other venture capital firms out there? I mean, there are plenty of impact ones, right? So this came out of experience. For 3 years, we tried the traditional startup studio model in which startups at different stages applied to us. And we had a certain set of observations there. The primary one being that exceptional founders are more likely to create exceptional startups. Now, what this means is that the startup's idea in itself holds a lesser factor towards success than the founder's, I'd say, skill set, demeanor, and a lot of other factors that come with it. So we restructured our program to focus on these exceptional founders. And we realized that to focus on them, we need to focus on them from day one, which is the day that they have their idea. I mean, if you want to support them, like why not support them from the day they have the idea? Why join at a later stage? That's more like
Yeah.
troubleshooting.
You. Instead of them, you. We've got 62 folks in front of us. They're the yous.
Right, right,
62 founders right here.
right. Just consider I'm speaking to each one of you one on one. So this provides them support from day one, and we believe that this really catalyzes the capacity to create positive impact. What happens is that to choose the right and aligned founders to do this with us, we created an evaluation methodology. This is not the process. This is just the factors on which we believe success can happen with build3. And there are two factors to evaluate it with. The first one is the team's potential for success, which is skill level and persistence both. Now, skill level is how much the founder knows about the specific impact niche they're getting into. For example, if they're getting into ocean life, do they know about marine biology? Or if they're getting into climate tech, do they know about their emission policies? And so forth. And persistence is a human trait. We all know that it's required to build a startup, scale a business, achieve any form of success in life. And the second factor is is the confidence in our ability and willingness to collaborate effectively with them. Now, our confidence in our ability and willingness is just another way of saying, are we a good fit for you as well? What that means is that we focus purely on impact startups. Impact startups are the ones that align with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which we will be covering in the next slide. But for now, coming back to this point, these 2 points led to the formation of the build3 Impact Accelerator. It is a 6-month program. And we're inviting you to the first 3 months of the program when we're requesting you to complete your applications or join the program. The first part is called Ideate and Create, where you refine your idea. You come to Goa, you live with us, you live in a community of founders. For 3 months, you get training, mentorship, you find a co-founder, refine your idea, and at the end of it, you get access to funding if your startup is selected. Now, we select these startups through an open pitching mechanism that we like to call the Zebra Tank. If a startup is selected in Zebra Tank at the end of 3 months, they go to the next phase where we build with them where we build with your startup as the institutional co-founder. Being an institutional co-founder means that we'll be there with you every step of the way until you achieve PMF. At the end of which, we provide access to more capital to scale your startup further from there. Moving on to the next section. Now, the goal and the impact of build3 Accelerator. What did the Impact Accelerator or build3 as a whole set out to achieve? It's basically to support impact founders so that they can create better businesses that push progress on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, the 17 that you can see in front of you right now. And if we enable them to do this, then the BI program in itself will help push the UN SDGs. And hence, we will move towards a better world. This is a structured approach to create impact that sources ideas from the vast world out there and provides founders like yourself to actually have proper structured support every step of the way until you reach the point where your startup is self sufficient. This program was created not just for people already in the startup world, but for sectoral experts, for corporate professionals, for anyone who has alignment with impact and wants to take the leap of faith into the startup world. If you want to take that leap of faith, we're here for you. Moving on to the next part, which is the journey of a founder through BI. Now, the first green box that you see right below the heading, where all candidates start with the application process of the accelerator, is where you find yourself at this point of time. You probably would have completed your stage one form or stage two form, depending upon wherever, or even if you haven't completed any form. This is the starting point for the journey. When you reach the page and fill out the form, our team evaluates it through a three-step process in which we ask for a short form, long form, and then there's an interview round. This section would be explained in more detail by Kritika. So I'll just jump to the part where what happens in the first 3 months and what are the milestones that a founder gets when they come to Goa and live with us for 3 months and get a chance at possible access to capital by the end of it. So selected candidates after this evaluation process will attend our cohort that starts on the 15th of April. They'll receive training, which is daily sessions, daily training sessions based on a set curriculum that we believe will enhance your startup skills to the level that you need to operate a startup. You'll receive mentorship. So we have external experts, founders of unicorns and unicorns coming in to share their insights about both impact startups and about early stage startups. Now, this period goes on for about 2.5 months. And at the end of 2.5 months, we hold some confidence that your idea has been refined enough, you have upskilled enough, and you have possibly found a co founder. So, this is where things really start coming together. So, when they come together in the last 15 days, we offer, sorry, we provide candidates the opportunity to pitch their final ideas to build3. We do this via the Zebra Tank, as I previously mentioned. And then selected startups from the original 55 founders come together to form startups. And out of those, the selected startups after the pitches get access to 25 lakh in funding from us. The key milestones that the first phase achieves is you find your co-founder, you get trained in startup skills, and then eventually you pitch your final idea to us. So let's just consider the fact like you must be assuming the risk over here that, hey, what if I come for 3 months and I don't get any funding at the end of the program? Well, you'll still have a ready business model and the skills to access funding from other places. And we will help you with that. The association is forever. If you're a cohort member, you're a part of our community, and we will help you every step of the way. If you're selected and go to stage two, our association just gets deeper because at that point of time, we get operationally involved with you. And so, selected startups, that brings us to the second stage, which is build and validate, where these selected startups from the first phase, which we've invited you to, start building with us. This mainly focuses on validating the hypothesis that they pitched to us in the first phase and building their minimum viable product. Now, this combination of minimum viable product and their go-to market helps us achieve what is known as product market fit. If a startup, that's the entire aim of the second phase, to achieve product market fit with the startup. This actually prepares them to raise further investments to scale the impact that they're creating because achieving PMF is a milestone that most investors look out for, including ourselves. So if you achieve PMF, you reach stage three, where we will forever be your institutional co-founders until you choose otherwise, of course. And so upon achieving PMF, the startups will get a follow-on funding of 1.25 crores from build3. And obviously, all prerequisites must be checked off at this stage. There must be an impact-aligned startup. The founders must have good synergies. The business model must be functional, and product market fit should have been achieved. So once you're in the scale zone, it's a journey beyond the one phase after that. So we help you go from -1 to 1 and then provide you with any assistance that you need beyond that. But our primary focus is the -1 to 1 journey. Now, the milestones in scale is scaling beyond the -1 to 1 phase, which is you can call your Series A or your later investment rounds follow on. You might add new product lines and so forth. Moving on to the next section. What are the key features of BI? Now you're a founder, and so far you may be on board with us. Okay, build3 is a startup studio in Goa. They're aligned with impact. They believe in profit with purpose. And they're inviting me to join their program, for which I'll have to commit 3 months. What will I get out of these 3 months? So you'll get three primary things because we focus on quality delivery, not over promising over here. You'll get training and mentorship, which is all you need to be a skilled founder. You'll find your co-founder because teams are required for success. It's never a one-person job. And you'll gain access to capital, which is where if you do everything else right, we don't want money to be a hindrance to get to market. And that's where we come in. So this training and mentorship, as I previously described, was refining your concept and, you know, building your team, defining your requirements, initial market validation. All of this stuff is covered in the training and mentorship part of which is structured in the sense that there's daily curriculum, and part of which is through our community of mentors, where you can reach out to specific mentors based upon your requirements and gain advice from them. Sometimes mentors also come to deliver sessions at our during the accelerator, generally to the tune of 2 sessions a week, I'd say. Now, so far the presentation is focused on startups in their idea phase, but we also associate with startups who already have a product in the impact space, but are looking to achieve PMF. So for them, in the training and mentorship module, we offer customer acquisition, scaling, preparation, and further significant funding rounds. It's mostly about fine-tuning their market fit. In finding your co-founder, I'd also like to highlight one more point. Now, finding your co-founder is not a structured activity per se. It is a community synergy that we follow by making you realize that a startup needs to have 6 specific skills in order to make it work. Not a startup, any business. And we realized that a person can at maximum carry 3 of these skills. So if 2 people are working at max capacity, only then our assumption of all 6 skills being covered, which span product, sales, marketing, tech, operations, and finance, come to play. Now, gaining access to capital, as I've already described, is purely about capital not being a hindrance to an idea that deserves funding. That's about it. Thank you. Moving on to the next section. Now, I'd like to introduce Prakash over here, who's present on the call. Prakash is a seasoned professional and entrepreneur who joined the first cohort of the build3 Impact Accelerator. There he met 2 college graduates, Zishan and Teja, who built their own community earlier. And the 3 of them came together to build 18, to co-found 18 Startup, which is one of our success stories from the first cohort. They raised 25 lakh in investment, and now it's over to Prakash.
Thanks, Prashant. Hi, founders and uh, future colleagues or future family members. I started from Bangalore on my bullet with a backpack, and after resetting my career of 20 to 23 years to zero, and rode to Goa. I had an overnight stop at Hubli, and the ride from Hubli to Goa was, very difficult because it was raining early morning, and I didn't have a raincoat. And I came to Goa. I straight rode into Build3's villa, completely drenched, and a lot of people. And in fact, the first person I met was Prashant. Yeah. So at the end of 75 days, I had money, 2 co-founders, and a business to run. which I think it's a tremendous thing. All that I came into this villa was with an open mind and a positive frame of mind and openness to learn and build something new. The focus of building something impactful had always been there. And I don't know how long they've given me. I have some 27 years of experience to talk about. I don't even want to start about it right now. Maybe when we'll all meet at Goa and we can have more stories about that. I would say that being in the build3 Impact Accelerator and uh, being there itself was a great experience. And to put it in perspective, I also decided, not just me, my co-founders, we also decided that we will build from the same villa where we were accelerated. So I think it was a wonderful experience for me, despite the fact that I had come there with a huge baggage of experience. I wouldn't say not just bag. I was able to unwind, I was able to unlearn and relearn new things and launch something within this short span of 75 days. So all that I ask you guys to is just come there with an open mind and let's rock together.
Thank you, Prakash.
I think Prakash is also very modest over here. In a short, I think 45 days after graduating, has already become revenue positive, which is very rare for startups. So these guys don't faff about. They had a plan. They put that plan into action. Whether they got funded from us or not, it didn't matter. Their plan is in action. They've had their first cohort of 21, was it Prakash, or 24? I forgot.
2025.
Yeah, there we go. So, and the next one is the signups are already there. Like, boom, like that's a founder, right? Making stuff happen.
No,
Sorry,
it's
I'll let you
it's
guys
it's
get
up
to
to
it.
it's up to us, guys. It's up to us how much we want to utilize build3 and its network. I will say that I am actually using even the spouses of the build3 members to build my business. So it's a great place to come and start building something new.
Rightly said, Prakash. Your network is only as big as you choose to make it. Moving on to the next section. Thank you, Prakash. Moving on
Yeah.
to the next section. Kritika would be taking us through the application and evaluation process that most of you find yourselves in the middle of right now. And some of you might be wanting to start off. Over to you, Kritika.
Hi everyone. So I'm going to briefly explain about how the application process is and what is the evaluation method as well. Uh, so who can apply to the program? Like one, founders, and second, pre-PMF startups. So now who these founders are? They are individuals with or without an idea and without a co-founder. And who these pre-PMF startups are like very early startups with some traction, some growth. Now, who is the founder of it and what is the start of it is something that we'll be seeing in the next slide. So, like when I say like founder fit, like who are these founders? So the individuals who are right out of college want to build something on their own, and they can be like some individuals who are in middle of their career, like want to change their streams and build something by themselves, or it can also be like retired individuals with some passion to build something with a lot of wisdom that they have gained throughout. And now who is not in founder fit is somebody who is just exploring, who like just seeing entrepreneurship as a side gig or something like that. And now what is a startup fit? So a startup fit is startups very early, maybe they're just building slowly with from ideas on paper, or startups who are in MVP stage and testing their product, and startups who have been in the market for some time now and are seeing some traction, some growth, and need to like continue to build that. Now, what is not a startup fit is a startup who are not impactfully aligned, or startups who are like already raised a couple of checks and are much ahead in their building journey. So the application process is something that I'll tell you in the next slide now. So the application process for individual founders is 3 stages. Like first one is a 15 minutes form. So there are about like 4 or 5 questions in this. So we in this particular form, the founder's capability and compatibility is assessed. Capability is skills and how they're able to like express their ideas, views, or their passion towards it. And compatibility is impactfully like aligned or not, or like how are their values aligned with build3's values, etc. So now in the long form, it will take about like 90 to 120 minutes for the founder to fill it up. We are assessing on like 3 metrics here. That is capability again, compatibility again, and commitment. That is like persistent to build for a long time or not. And then once these 2 stages are passed, then there is an interview stage. In interview stage, like reasoning behind applying for this program, or like a motivation to build and how is being assessed. So this is for the individual founders, and the application for startups are slightly different. So not very much. That is, the startups get to fill one detailed application form, which will take about like 60 or 90 minutes for them to fill it. And here, like we are assessing capability, compatibility, commitment, plus commercial viability. And like in the next one, that is one like small call, and in the call, like their long form, that is the detailed form, uh, about like what is the product, the financial modeling of the startup, and some questions and answers around it is being addressed. Then the next call, which is like more like an interview, is again assessing the same things with the Q&A. So this is how the application and evaluation process is.
Thank you, Kritika. That also to all attendees present here, this section might have had a fair share of questions with it. In about another 5 to 10 minutes, we'll be getting into the question and answer session right after Elton's introduction to our community living space, which actually creates half of the synergies and the magic that happen at build3. Yeah, Manu.
Prashant, participants can start putting down their questions in the chat box now.
I'll arrange for that one.
Perfect. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Prashant. So essentially, hello everyone. So one thing that you've sort of heard during this presentation repeatedly is community, and how community helps to form bonds and synergies between people. And so essentially that's where CoHub comes in and takes care of the whole aspect of creating these connections between founders. Many of you are coming here for the first time and you don't know each other. So how are you going to find co-founders and really get to know each other in a short span of time? And that's where Co-op comes in. Prashant, can you just scroll through the pictures and maybe go on the last slide? Just pause on the last slide. Yeah. Yeah. So essentially, a co-op is a space we've created a space for founders to come live together and work with each other. The whole idea is we create situations for people through like activities such as theater workshops or art workshops to really help you sort of get to know each other and bond in a very non-pressurized environment, right? And so that's when conversations flow, and that's when you actually get to know each other as people. And so with that, what we've done is we have 2 programs under the CoHub banner where people can come experience the vibe and stay for a short amount of time. And we have a retreat, a seaside startup retreat, where founders come for a structured program for about 8 days, where they learn the basics of entrepreneurship. Now, how is this helpful for you? So we we want everyone who's coming for the accelerator to really only be focused about finding their co-founder, refining their idea, and actually sort of putting like executing their idea in the quickest time possible. So for because of that, so we created it's a plug and play model where you can just literally come, stay with us. We have taken care of your accommodation. We have also taken care of your food. So through our community kitchen that is Portion, we serve healthy, nutritious vegetarian meals 3 times a day, where you sort of like all your stay and your food needs and your community needs, right? Like your outings and the activities that will help you bond together as people. We've taken care of that, and so that's what we've really found from the previous accelerator. One really heartwarming incident that I was recently part of. There was another former cohort participant who came visited us, Dr. Raki, and like we were having lunch together, and one thing she mentioned was, after the accelerator, she gets on a call almost every day with like some two or three other accelerator participants, and they just talk to each other about what's happening in their life and what's happening with their startup, and how they're sort of going about fundraising, how they're going about ideating. And really that happens when you live together and have shared experiences together. And so that's where CoHub comes in. Yeah.
If I may just add, a residential program is a big part of what we offer. You have programs that are fully virtual, and you say, hey, you can explain to me everything online, and you can go through your coursework, and I can understand it as well because I can see you, I can hear you. But when you come here into an environment where there's 50 of you, all with the same objective, the kind of bonds and the serendipitous events that occur cannot even be imagined. So how you pick your co-founder, what sort of vibes you're getting, that depends on, what food they eat, what time they wake up, do they like to cycle or do they like to play board games, right? Like, how do you get all these answers? Is by hanging out with people. So you have conversations, you understand, hey, do you love like the same things in terms of business? Are you structured, written type people, or are you more spoken and artistic people, right? So you'll find your people, your complementary people by meeting in the real world, having exposure to each other for all the waking hours, right? 14, 16 hours you're spending together, and that's where magic happens. And you take away at the very least friendships, and most likely a partner who you will spend a lot of time building something meaningful that will make the world a better place. So an in-person program was chosen for a reason. This format was chosen for a reason, and we've seen it change lives. And if you've been in an in-person program before, you will get this. If you haven't, it'll be a little bit of leap of faith, but I trust it'll be well worth it.
Thank you for that, Varun. Um, that said, we'll be moving on to the next section, which is the Q&A session. And just to guide all attendees on how to post questions, you must be seeing some messages popping up on your screen right now. So you can find an icon that denotes a triangle, a circle, and a square in your meeting controls. And over there in the Q&A section, post a question. I'll just post another message over here so that you can see the section pop up, and then you can post your questions over there. Thank you, Avi. Over to you.
Thank you so much. I'm already seeing a lot of excitement and some questions have started to pop in. So without wasting any time, and all your answers, all the questions will be answered. So yeah, Oyster says, good morning, team. Very good morning. Saminder sir, Saminder K. Are there any fixed timings per day? Are there fixed number of hours per day in the program? So typically, how does a day look like is we start our first session, which is a curriculum theoretical session at around 11 o'clock in the morning. This goes on till 12:30 or 1. Then the team breaks into breathwork exercises led by Varun. Then we get into lunch. Around lunch, there could be a mentor session or some founder who comes and speak about their journey. And this is followed by a community event. An event could look like speed dating for co-founders, poetry night. It could look like just a fun beach cleanup activity. So it starts in the morning 11, it goes on till 6 or 7. There are no fixed times per se, but we would love you to focus on just the accelerator and building your next idea rather than dividing your attention between multiple things. So this is what we expect from every founder joining the program. I hope that answers. Amount of equity that you take at various stages. Pratik has asked brilliant question. So Pratik, for founders, what we are providing are two value additions. The first is being a part of this program, being a part of the community, getting intensive training on how you build your startup right from what we call -1. So -1 is the stage where you just have an idea, may or may not have the initial team, know you want to build it out but don't know how to do it right now, or have some idea on how to do it but still want support. So for all the support that we provide for the virtue by the virtue of being a part of this accelerator, build3 takes about 1.5% equity. The other big value add that we provide is an opportunity to find a co-founder. Finding a co-founder is, I would say, at par equally difficult as founding a spouse. You have to wait, you have to be value aligned, end up spending more time with a co-founder than you with your spouse. So those decisions are brilliantly put in. So Build3 is in the process of curating co-founders for you, probable co-founders for you. It's providing you an opportunity to find a co-founder. And if you end up finding a co-founder from the cohort, or you find a co-founder from outside the cohort, with whom again Build3 spends a considerable amount of time, that is an additional 1.5% equity. So that is 1.5 plus 1.53% at this stage. And for the investments we put in, it is at a standard 5% equity, 25 lakh rupees through a convertible note. I hope that answers your question.
Um, I'll
Yeah,
just go a little
Varun.
bit deeper. Abhi, I think it's important to explain that our demo day financial contribution comes in as a convertible debt first instrument. So it is convertible, and based on your journey, if you start to raise multiple follow-on rounds, then it takes the form of equity. Otherwise, it can stay as debt, and you could pay us off too. Like the decision is yours as a founder. All
Yeah,
of this
yeah,
is covered in the partnership approach and terms document, which is available on our website.
perfect. Thank you, Varun. The next question is, it's an anonymous question. How much do I have to pay? Hey, don't be anonymous. So the cohort charges, and Alton, please correct me where I go wrong. For dormitory, they come to 20,000 rupees plus GST, that is 23,600. And then we have some highly, like one of the most nutritious food available, vegetarian food, which is again why one of our startups called Potion. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all of the three combined come at 9,000 plus GST. So that's 9,450. Net per founder per month, the amount will come to 33,050 rupees. Perfect.
And there's no charge for the program over and above that in cash. There's only the equity charge for the program. And for your boarding and lodging are the costs, as Abhimanyu explained.
Yeah. Next question again, Pratik has asked, out of 55, how many normally go on to the next stage? Pratik, we would love for all of them to go on, but like Prashant mentioned, there's a process. We do what we call zebra tank. So zebra are the starters who are building both for purpose as well as for profits, not just for profit. So like a Shark Tank, a zebra tank product pitch happens. This pitch happens in open. So there are some experts, some build3 team members, but essentially all your cohort participants are present at the zebra tank. They give you feedback. If the net feedback looks good to everyone, if you're confident about your product, we move to a second stage, which we call bar raiser. This process is inspired by Amazon, where we look into. So during the program, you will building a lot of documents. So investment committee looks into all the documents. There is some question answers, but unlike Zebra Tank, where the focus was product, now the focus will be business. So if you clear these two stages as a startup, we take you to the demo day, where we say that Build3 for sure is putting 25 lakh rupees into the startup. We also allow external investors to come and look and feel and talk to the founders about what you are building. In the first cohort, talking some data, in the first cohort, we had 20 individual founders and 5 early stage startups. Combined, all of them created 19 startups, of which 12 are still active. Build3 invested in 5 of them. But over here, the companies that Build3 did not invest in, we are still helping them. We are still providing feedback. They are still part of the Zebra tanks and the follow-on demo days. So at any point of time, when you are ready, we are ready. You can be a part of our demo day. This is the process. I hope that answers.
So the important point that Abhi just said is 5 got funded, but the 7 who are still on their journey, as they continue to progress, they're most welcome to present at a future demo day and get funded. The criteria we primarily look at each demo day is it a complete team? We use this terminology, hacker, hustler, hipster, that many of you who filled our forms would be familiar with. So do you have a team that is broadly complementary and compatible? Second one is, do you have the ability to sort of be smart with money? Can you plan your finances? Do you know unit economics? Can you sort of make that 25 lakhs and stretch it a bit until you reach profitability, or at least reach a significant product market fit milestone on which you can raise more money? So are you a team like that? Because a lot of teams we realize that don't have a good understanding of money and they sort of misspend it. And the third one is, can you convert ideas into action? So teams that can create the business plans and the PowerPoints, but then can also make that happen in the real world. Um, in the example of 18 startup, that means organizing a bunch of third and fourth year students who would come for an entrepreneurial course, right? They were able to convert that idea into actions where they got people from around the country. They actually came for a course to go, and they ran that cohort. They created the syllabus and delivered an excellent program. So that's what we mean. And that's the criteria we're looking for. So whenever you're ready, there's a demo day probably a few months out that you can attend. We do it twice a year at least, maybe 3 times a year.
Perfect. The next question is, how is your program different from YC, Y Combinator? So, Dikshant, we are focused
It's in
primarily
Goa.
on. Yeah, it's in Goa. I was coming to that. Whereas, yeah, it's in Goa. All founders live together. We are primarily focused on social impact. The challenges with it impact are different from, say, SaaS or fintech or just VSFI or any other spaces. Uh, Social impact ventures, both looking at it from a lens of building profit into impact, are just emerging in India over the last 3-5 years. So that's where our focus is. Our evaluation mechanisms are different. We are looking both companies who are building in an ESG friendly way, which is environmental, social, and governance. So talking about distribution of wealth, talking about environment, talking about climate, talking about how the companies should run, taking care of all the stakeholders. We also map our output using the SDG framework that Prashant explained. So impact first. Our criteria is not focusing on ROI. We are not focusing on financial results. Our primary criteria is building a better world to live in. So that's the difference that we have. What are the similarities? Both of us operate at a cohort level, both YC and Build3. I hope that answers.
I'll just add to that also, Abhi.
Yeah,
So yes, building towards something that balances profit and purpose. We think the engine of capitalism can be used usefully. So we're not saying build NGOs or not-for-profit entities. The entity is a for-profit company, but instead of just optimizing it for profit to the detriment of your colleagues, your society, or to the planet, like keep that in mind. So this balance between profit and purpose is something where we're, I think, culturally different than YC. And I think this focus on um, content being downloaded every day, and that conversation happening where people get together in a room, discuss a topic, and sit together. From my understanding of YC, is they mostly do office hours. So a bunch of really smart and accomplished people are available through a booking system. And then there's these socials that they set up where people get together and serendipitously meet each other. And there's a lot of pre-created content that is available for consumption on an ad hoc basis. So that's how they do their program. One thing we realize with an Indian audience, they like to get together in a group. We like to sort of sit together. We like to talk to each other, and so there's some expertise passed on, and then a workshop or a discussion ensues literally every day. So there's a more engagement from that perspective.
perfect. Thank you, Varun. The next question is, how Build3 helps in ideas to the execution process. So, like I just said, there is an intensive curriculum. It builds up tempo. We start with what are the values in your life? What is your purpose in life? Why do you want to build a startup? What is the space you want to work for? We use a bunch of frameworks throughout the process. Over here, we use a framework called the Ikigai framework. The first 7 to 10 days is where we spend time with you, helping you understand what is it that you truly want to build in your life and would love to keep doing it for the next 10 years or at least 10 to 20 years. Then come we get into the selection of the idea. So in an open forum, we discuss what are the ideas you are building on. What is it that you feel is both scalable and will create an impact? And again, we offer a bunch of frameworks to evaluate those ideas. Once you are clear about your idea, you have some understanding or who is the potential co-founder you will be building the startup with. Then we get into activities like talking about what are the first stakeholders that you will need to have in your startup, what is the operational processes involved, what are some pros and cons of this space, what should be your go to market strategy or your sales plan and your marketing plan as you start scaling up, what should an initial prototype look like. So for the founders, it is very important to go out in the market as soon as possible, because the customers who tell you what is good enough for you or not. So emphasis is a lot on the forward momentum. So this is how bit by bit, piece by piece, we keep building momentum, starting from your purpose to getting at least the first prototype out in the market in the first 3 months. Yeah. There's a question again, anonymous. Elton shared that accommodation and food is taken care of. Is there a paid component attached to this? So like I mentioned, there is a paid component attached to it. But like Varun mentioned also, this is how serendipity acts and why it is so important to come together. Uh, we will also share a document booklet that clearly emphasizes what CoHub is, what you will learn. So bits and parts of what Elton presented will be shared with you. Another question, again anonymous, what are the valuation metrics that are used for build3's equity exchange, if any, for the amounts invested at various stages? Uh, we realize these are very early stages, and when you are the first check, there is no valuation maths attached to it. It's just a piece of science. So we have a piece of art, sorry. So we have standardized our metrics. We go in through a convertible note, which is a debt note, like Varun mentioned, at putting in 25 lakh rupees. You can either pay off the debt to us and there is no equity that build3 stands over there, or if you're not able to pay off the debt and there are something what are called as trigger events or qualified financing rounds, only in that case the debt converts into equity. But to answer your question, it's a standard valuation metric at 5 CR. Hi, this is Preeti Jagwani. Hi, what if I don't find a co-founder, I have multiple ideas to try? So, you will have to narrow down from the multiple ideas from the 20, what are the 3, 4 that you want to experiment with? And that is again where build3 will help you. We'll also help you find co-founders building in the same space. So space could be, hey, you're in healthcare in creating a drug that helps people reduce the chances of cancer. And there is somebody else who's again in healthcare but helping with eyes in some sense. We'll help the two of you connect, help the two of you have a chat. We'll try to the best extent possible see that you find a co-founder from within the cohort, because A, we have already vetted them. B, now you're in the same physical proximity space, going to spend 90 to 100 days together. So it's far more easier to get your prototype out. But in spite of all this effort, if you're not able to find a co-founder from within the cohort, you're free to find a co-founder from outside the cohort. Build3 will also help you find a co-founder from outside the cohort. And Goa as a startup community is also rising very fast. So you can find co-founders from different events and different community activities that happen all over Goa, again, at which Build3 will help you get access to. But I'm fairly confident in a bunch of 55, you will find a co-founder. Sheikh Musadik. Hey, nice to know about the program. Is the 3 month period chargeable? Like I said, and like Varun also mentioned, the program itself for shortlisted candidates is not chargeable. You just have to pay for your lodging and boarding charges, that too at the co-hub. Renaissance Superfoods. Early stage starters who have got government grant are considered. Yes, they are definitely considered. Even if you have received early institutional checks, you are considered. Or if you're okay with our terms, then also you're considered. So having raised any grants or investment earlier is not a criteria over here. The only thing is we have our standard investment terms that I just discussed, the document of which is also available on our website called the Partnership Approach in Terms. If you are fine with those terms, and if your investors are also fine with those terms, we are more than happy to have you as part of this program. Mohan Babu, good morning, everyone. I've already incorporated my company back in 2021, but I do not have a team. I've outsourced the design work and have a segment's user experience ready, and I had to hold the work as I ran out of funds. The question is, should I apply under Startup Studio or Accelerator? Mohan Babu, if you are pretty sure that this is the only idea you wish to work with, then you can apply through using the Startup Studio link. But if you're still open to other ideas, you can apply through the Accelerator link. Having said that, it doesn't matter. There is no difference in our approach to early stage startups or individuals. Once you're part of the program, all are treated at par, all receive the same material. And as and when the startups progress, so the startups who are already in the accelerator, they are now 100% sure this is what they want to do. Or as in when teams within the accelerator progress, they get specific mentorship, ask support, which they want like for their startup. So that is the difference over here. Again, talking from an example, we had a startup called Rosie Roti as part of our first cohort. They were already out there in the market, and when they joined the accelerator, they were like, for sure, they just want to do what they're doing, what they have been doing for the longest time, which is working with gig workers in some sense. In the accelerator, at the 45-50 day mark, they realized the idea that they were working on, in spite of generating about 50-60 lakh rupees of annual revenue, is not scalable. And with the help of build3, with the help of build3 members, they pivoted their idea and are just focusing at the narrow laser sharp focus on the catering space. So a lot of things will change. Starters, by the nature of the early stage, are bound to pivot. All that journey will happen. You can apply from any of the links. We'd love to have you as part of our program. Again, Anonymous, do you take entrepreneurs at ideation stage? Yes, we take them at the very early stage. So again, how we are different from YC is we come in very early when just the thought of doing entrepreneurship is in your minds. Oystery, I have a question that want to build the fintech for farmers, weavers, and fishermen communities separately. Need co-founders for these projects. First cut draft has been drafted and vetted by mentor as MVP release. Want to build three Fortune 500 companies. Uh, Oyster, the question is not completely clear. I love the fact that you have a vision. I love the fact that there's some clarity on what you wish to do. I would request you to please apply to the program. If you're pretty sure you want to proceed forward with this startup, apply through the Startup Studio link. And then we will have a chat. We will have a discussion around what exactly are your motivations, how can you find this co-founders, how to scale it up, and whether you're a fit for this program or not. But thank you. Fortune 500 companies. Yeah. What is the process or method for interview third round for founders? I have some kind of confusion regarding it. This is Saurabh Gugia. Saurabh, it's a very informal chat. We don't interview per se. We just chit chat in our interviews. We are looking for your motivation, your passion. Why have you joined this program? Will you be able to spend 3 months at least in the program or not? If you have any very specific confusion, please do write it as one another question. But it's a very smooth sail. Nothing to be worked upon. You don't have to do any pre-work right now. It's all done. Gaurav Lakhera, is this program is helpful for someone who wants to model something in service business, which is already working and want to build a business model around it? I'm working as a freelancer currently, but want to build a scaling business around my current skill set. Yes, for sure. See, when we talk about innovation and value proposition, it is not that any one company can only capture a particular market. Swiggy, Zomato more or less do the same thing. Ola, Uber more or less do the same thing. So if you're building something which is already out there, the model is not unique, you're more than happy to have you. The only thing, and this is again something that we emphasize on during the accelerators, what is that one critical insight about the market you have that probably your competitors won't have? So this is a journey that will happen in the accelerator. You will learn about your competition. You will learn the fact of how to find competition in the first place. Sometimes we don't think, oh, this can also be our competition. Creating critical insights around it and then creating a business model around it. So yes, to answer your question, we would love to have you as part of this program. Service business. Yeah. Okay. Chaminder K. Do you charge us for the program? I've already answered this. The program in itself for the shortlisted candidates is completely free. You obviously have to go through the process, be shortlisted. The payment is just for logic and boarding, which would otherwise have also happened if you're spending time in Goa. Gitansh ji, I have a query about D2C and B2C market size in India, current and future assumptions. Gitansh, you will have to be more specific when you say D2C and B2C market size on what space, and this is a conversation we can take offline. But both D2C and B2C are blooming in India. So, India's economy is one of the best, at least the young economy is one of the best in the world right now, and we are driving nuts on that. Is it a prerequisite to quit a full-time job? Anonymous. Now, this is a tricky one. Like I said, we want you to spend your full time, full energies over here at Goa during the program. Focus on what you're building. In life or in work or in anything you do, divided energies don't are not always best for you. If you're confused, if you're not sure whether this is for you, what you can perhaps do is request your company to provide some kind of sabbatical. But again, that is not something I would suggest. We generally look for what is the skin in the game of the founders themselves or not. And if you're sure you want to build a startup, just do it. That's my personal learning from life. Just go for it, and wonderful things will happen. More than welcome to Build3. Santosh Patra, good
Just
morning,
adding
all.
on,
Yeah,
Abhi, I'll just add to that.
yeah, yeah.
Um, to build a startup, you really have to eat, breathe, sleep the startup. And if there's any distractions on our minds, then usually that's what keeps us from building something valuable. Because when I'm thinking about it in the on the pot, when I'm thinking about it in the shower, when I'm thinking about it when I'm going for a walk, that's when some of the breakthroughs happen. And when those breakthroughs happen and they're brought over to your startup, that's when you create a magical product or service for customers, and that's when it gets accepted and delivers delight. So whenever there's any distractions, like Abhi was also saying, our personal experience has been that it doesn't lead to a quality solution. So that's where this thought is coming from.
Hmm, perfect. Just give me a second. Okay. Santosh Patra, good morning, all. I have this question in mind. If multiple people like a co founder, I chosen, then what happens? How do we make the co founders to commit? Yeah, our biggest customers are our co founders. You have to share your vision with them. Make sure they also love your vision, or at least value aligned and purpose aligned, and want to build in the space. And if you can convince a person, at least one co-founder, to work with you, you can convince the market as well. That has been my learnings, being crystal clear on what you want to do. Obviously, it's not an easy thing. Again, talking from example in our cohort, when we had a couple of people who were either being looked after by other startup founders or who were themselves working on multiple ideas. And at the end of the day, founders themselves select what they want to do. Varun, any additions to this?
Yeah, this is, I think, going back to your earlier analogy, it's like a marriage. Two people have to
Yeah.
pick each other. Just because one is interested in the other, but the other is not interested in the first, then it won't happen, right? And you can introduce yourself, you can pitch yourself, you can present yourself in your best way, but it's finally the decision of the two people who are going to spend that next decade together, right? So it really comes up to you. And this is where your journey as a founder begins, right? If you can't even convince a co-founder, how will you convince the 100 other employees or the 1,000 other employees? How will you convince your investors to give you whatever they give you? How will you convince thousands or hundreds of thousands of customers to buy a product? Like, this is the beginning of that journey where you learn to convince people, because as a startup, that's what you're going to do for the rest of your life. So if you can't overcome that first test, it's perhaps worth reflecting on whether this is a journey you want to take. So it's a test, it's an important one. If you pass, it's a good sign.
Yeah, yeah. As founders, we are both building and selling, and if you can do both, then that's fantastic. Is this startup? This is architect Ashwini Pawar. Is the startup cohort enables to find co-founders from real estate, construction, planning, and design built environments? We don't promise, Ashwini, that these are the kind of co-founders or these are the spaces you will for sure meet in this cohort, because we also not sure what the other co-founders might be building. What we can help you is find co-founders or at least founding team members from the larger Goan community who are building around these themes, and then you can interact with them, figure out if they would love to be a co-founder in your startup. Just from the data that I have, we have quite a lot of architects that are part of our Build3 community as well. So that's where we can help you. Vivek Shahi. For startup,
Abhi,
yeah,
just before you
yeah,
do, is it useful
yeah.
to go through some of the backgrounds, like just like one word backgrounds of like some people from our previous cohort, so they can get an understanding of the diversity we had in the last cohort?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So our youngest was 18, our eldest was 54. We had about four fresh college pass outs. They had done some entrepreneurial stuff in college, built some projects, were looking to convert it into a startup. Then we had some founders that have been building startups for quite some time. So Prakash ji, you just met a vast experience working in the banking space, in the financial lending space. We had somebody called Venkat. He had worked with a multiple with some MNC firms in back in USA as a product manager. Comes up over here, meets another person called Gangaraj who has worked in the maternity care space for 7 8 years. They together start a startup in the geriatric healthcare space now. We have so the college students that I spoke about, they partnered with Prakash ji to start 18 startup, which is accelerating entrepreneurship in colleges. Then we had a wonderful woman, Sapna Sahani, been in the Goan ecosystem for about 13 years now, excellent at marketing and sales. She partnered with another person called Abhishek Mawai, who is a tech founder, has built tech products for another company, and that company's founder is also co-founder in the company. These three made together, which is now called NeoCool, that we have invested into. Another startup, this startup called Good Lives,
EdTech,
both found.
that one is EdTech.
Yeah, EdTech, NeoCool, yeah, EdTech, true. So these were two EdTech startups. Citrus Healthcare is again in healthcare space. Good Lives is another example. Both founders, they had known each other for a long time. They were building the startup for 3 years, comes to build3, learn more about B2B marketing, crack a few deals over here, are accelerating now. The startup is called Good Lives. Then there is this founder called Vasundhara Kanoria. She was one of those rares who had nothing to do with startup, purely academician, working on her research projects. Just thought about building a startup in the impact space. Comes to the cohort, meets a few founders, underscore multiple pivots. Is right now building an app to make long distance relationships better. The app is called Togetherly. Then again from
Lawyer and psychologist from a background.
yeah, lawyer and psychologist. So these are some examples. These are some kind of people from
And
diverse backgrounds.
one startup actually did look at the real estate space. He found a co-founder outside of the ecosystem, but she's an architect, and he had built a previous startup in IT before, and together they wanted to solve the problem of architectural firms and their project management. So one in your space did get sort of set up. I don't know if this is what you had in mind, but one team did get together in our last cohort around this area.
Yeah, yeah.
Go ahead, Abhi.
They're also doing well. This team Make Makan, as Varun just mentioned, they've raised some fans and family round, are getting early customers. So in spite of the fact that they have not raised fund from Build3, Build3 is still supporting them. Like I just have a call with this founder after this. So amazing work that these founders are doing. All right. Next one, Vivek Shahi. I'm just going a little fast for the sake of time, but I will cover all the answers. As like I said, for startup fit category with MVP and early stage traction, have some duration of participation equity charges, any customization for them. So like Vivek, I answered in my previous question also, the entire program, how we evaluate starters, what are the kind of starters that come into is same. We realize that the only difference between a pre-PMF and ideation stage startup is that a pre-PMF startup founder has spent say 6 8 1 year or 1.5 years trying to figure out what to do in that startup, but ideas are still bound to pivot. Still they will have to give some time refining their idea, reaching product market fit. So that is why because the program is same for them, there is no customization that we offer. Nikhil Gehlot, hey Nikhil, long time man. Is this place open to visit even if we are not incubated? I'm very interested. I'm waiting for you to come to Build3 for the last 2 years. Please come. But just an FYI, the space is open for everyone. You are more than welcome. Please visit Build3. Please visit our community. Come and spend time over here. Work out of here. Even if you're not of the part of the program, you can you can reside at the co-op spaces for a day, for a week. We're also doing another program. It's an 8 day startup retreat. You can visit that even before joining the cohort, so you can come spend be a part of that 8 day program, see whether there is any value alignment or not, and then be a part of this cohort. All options are open.
Hey, Abhi, I just want to jump in for the previous question where, a startup founder felt they were a little bit more mature and they should have differential pricing. In our last cohort, we had a similar person, and they've already been part of startups in the US and in India, and so felt they had a lot of the experience. They'd also spent some time visiting Build3 on an ad hoc basis and felt they knew most of the people. So they could talk and get most of the things they wanted, and they'd learned a lot in their prior lives, so they felt that it might not be needed. I said, look, you're going to have at least 30 new people who are in the same journey as you that you're going to meet, and there's probably 30 to 50 new mentors, investors, and vendors you're going to meet. Your phone book is going to increase by at least 80 good quality people. Now you decide if that's worth it to you or not. And the person finally, after a lot of thinking back and forth, did make the decision. In the end, they felt the knowledge was valuable, but they also found a co-founder, and they've also received funding through us, and we've also helped them get access to, I think, 5 or 6 additional investors. So it ended up being quite a valuable program for them. So it's good to have a healthy dose of um, apprehension or concern, but finally, like, go into your intuition and see if this is calling out to you, and if you think it's going to work. Half a 1% here or there does not change the game long term. 5% here or there doesn't change the game long term. If you are building with the right people, you'll build so much bigger and better that a few percent here there doesn't change anything. My experience, having built, you know uh, one exited company, one company that's going to go public in the next couple of years, and now sort of seeing a lot of journeys simultaneously. That's my true belief.
Awesome. Yuvraj Singh asks, I'm currently the founder and CEO of a startup that I'm running for 2 years. However, I'm interested in launching another startup. Given this, am I eligible to apply for this program? Yuvraj, you are completely eligible for this program, but like we answered previously as well, see where your energies are going. If your energies are a 50-50 divide, please don't. We would love for you to completely focus on this new startup that you're building, which would essentially mean that your old startup either has been taken care of by another co-founder or is in autopilot mode. You're just spending, say, 5-10 minutes a day behind that. Another question again by architect Ashwini Pawar. Mostly cohort and starter workshop focuses more on startup from IT, SaaS, fintech. Kindly clarify. A brilliant question. I was hoping somebody would ask. No, we are not just focused on IT. We are completely sector agnostic as far as impact is concerned. If you're building even an hardware product for within social impact, you're building a service industry, a lifestyle brand, you're more than happy to be part of this cohort. We love to work with you. So not just IT.
Our only criteria is that you're building broadly that makes humanity and the world better. So better for the mind, better for the body, better for the earth. If you're looking for a structure, then it's working towards the SDGs. That's all we ask. You can have a hardware approach or a software approach. An example is we have supported an organic coffee company, which is purchasing its coffee from marginal farmers in the Tamil Nadu Gudlur area, right? So that's mostly an offline business. You're teaching farmers how to grow better coffee, then you're processing that coffee, and then you're serving that coffee, and that's an offline business. The only technology that they have is their POS is technology, right? And then on the other side, we have like a travel technology company that's making experiences in Goa more easily available to people, more trustworthy, fair pricing, etc., safe for women, all of that. Now theirs is an entirely tech platform, so there is no requirement from our side, but it has to make for you know a, a better world that we all live in, and you can use technology or you cannot. Either is okay.
Perfect. Could Leon Kaushik is asking, could someone please send us the deck in case we have missed anything? Thank you in advance. Yes, Leon will make that happen. Prashant, please take note. Shekhar Lokhande, I stay in Goa. Is it mandatory to stay at the venue? Shekhar, yes, we'd love for you to stay at the venue because only then will you spend enough an amount of time with your fellow co-founders. Not just understand what space they are building, but also understand their life, what have been their motivations, why did they decide to come to build 3, what is impact for them. And we feel that all of this happens only in an informal, very casual environment where you can go out with your co-founders, take them onto a dinner, walk on the beach, just spend time with them. And to enable all of that is why we have built the beautiful spaces of CoHub. You can live over here, stay with your co-founder, and figure out the next journey of your life. And it's just 3 months, by the way. at Kandalam.
Yeah, I fully agree with Abhimanyu that when you're in this environment with other people 24/7, it's different than when you come in for 2, 3 hours and then you head back to your home half an hour, 1 hour away. Then you don't get the full experience. And last time we actually said it was okay in our previous cohort. And because we thought it could be. But then we saw the difference in the quality of experience that the such folks were having. And this time we've suggested the change and are incorporating this. I know sometimes it feels like, hey, these guys are just trying to force this upon us. Ye to like, kama rahe hain, yeah, like they're just using their power over us or some of those sorts of things. We actually realized that the 20-25% of people in the last cohort that didn't stay had a 30-40% experience. So we just want everybody to have an amazing experience and are being upfront about it. So that's the thought.
Amazing. The next question is by an anonymous. I possess a lot of skills. I just started with my business. Hence, how would you take care of the accommodation and food? I think the question really is asking is that I have a lot of skills, but I've just started with the business. And there's a next question also by Nimish Srivastav. Is there a scholarship for the program? So I'll just combined ask. We are offering what we call as need-based scholarship. We do understand that it won't be easy for everyone to pay for the lodging and boarding expenses. Again, clarifying that the program in itself is completely free of cost for shortlisted candidates. So for candidates who require need-based scholarship, once the shortlist is done, we will roll out the form. We'll ask for some documents. This is very typical to how Ivy League colleges roll out their scholarships. So we'll ask for a few documents and then we will decide whether we can offer a partial or full scholarship or not. Having said that, there is a limited corpus that we'll be working with. So you can apply for the scholarship. The next question is again from Anonymous. Can I earn and learn with the cohort sessions? Uh, this is a tough one. Like I said, that the 3 months are all about you focusing on building your startup. So if you can just figure out your co-founder and hit the markets and get early revenues, nothing better than that. So your energy should be focused on earning through the startup, earning for the long term, building a fantastic product and services that the world would want, that the customers would want paid for you. So don't
Abhi,
focus
the
on what
answer
happens.
here could be co-hub. The answer might be co-hub from what I'm understanding, potentially.
Earn and learn with the cohort, with the cohort
Then you can be
sessions.
part of this. You can be part of the sessions. You can still be doing a remote job, and then you're not
Yeah,
part of the program. You're just a member of co-hub, maybe.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. No, so I was just coming to that. So as far as the cohort is concerned, no. But like Varun said, you can be a part of the cohort. You can stay over there. You can be a part of the community. You can keep doing what you're building, but that won't be specific to this cohort at least. Yeah. Sumesh Thakur, what's your acceptance rate? So in the first cohort, we had 311 individual applications. We selected 19. This cohort, we have already surpassed at least 1,000 signups. We have already received about 370 short forms and 55 at what we are 55 candidates. What we are looking at. So the acceptance rate by maths comes to about 7 to 10%.
No, Abhi, the real answer here is if you're going to build a startup that's going to change the world, our acceptance rate is 100%.
Yeah, yeah, but okay, sure, okay, for sure. Cool. How many people do you accept? 35 in the individuals, but we are still flexible on that. So 35 individuals, like Krutika pointed out, with or without an idea, and 10 early stage startups comprising of 20 co-founders. So the cohort size, this will be 55 plus or minus 5. Suni Bitla, can we join without making your accommodation? As Varun sir said, there is no charge for the program, sir. So, like Varun sir said, and like I also confer, there's no charge for the program in itself. It's just the lodging and boarding, which otherwise you would have also paid. That we are requesting for you to pay. And why are we emphasizing more on cohort? Because then you can live together, a lot of serendipity happens, you talk to your co-founders, a stronger startup will be born. So yes, no charge for the program, just for the lodging and boarding, and along with the need-based scholarship also, just I just spoke about. What about the incorporation and compliances post the idea formulation and creation of them? We do have fantastic startup-friendly enablers, accounting partners, compliance partners. So once you are clear of the idea, It's a great thing to incorporate your company because investments only come to a company. So we'll help you meet them, and at the what we term it as startup friendly costs. So whatever the lowest costs are, these enablers will incorporate your company for you. Anonymous, can we run our business while we are attending the 3 month program? I answered this multiple times. My request would be no. And this is also one of the things we will evaluate basis which will give the next round of funding. Leon Kaushik, people are asking some great questions. Is there an existing FAQ in place that we can access? Yeah, these are fantastic questions. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll collect all of these questions and also try to put an FAQ together. But we already have FAQ. We've already answered about 2022 questions on our website. The URL is build3.org/accelerator. You can read more about this program also. Perfect, Prashant. Thank you so much. He just posted it.
It
The
also has
FAQs are
a
there.
there's the FAQ section, but there's a document called the Partnership Approach and Terms, and
Yeah.
that was very thoughtfully written by Abhimanyu, and there's contributions from all of us, which really go deep. So if you take the time to read that, I have confidence that 99% of your questions will be answered.
Yeah. The next question is a legit one. Can we come with a spouse partner? I would like either Elton or Varun to pick this up.
Yes, absolutely. The intention, though, is just like another startup can distract you from being the best co founder while you're present, ensure you're not in holiday mode. There's practical reasons to come with your spouse. We fully understand that and we endorse that. Right? But be present and being part of the program is how you will get the best from the program. And remember, your participation leads to everybody else having a good exposure, good experience. So if everybody comes with the mindset that they're fully committed to the program, that's when the program is going to be best for everybody. So that's just the ethos we request. The practicalities, of course, are there. And in your case, if you need some unique boarding lodging, we can take that offline and go through that discussion.
Thank you. Next question is from a founder who is working with timber, creating beautiful timber houses and structures. The question is that coming to the cohort for 90 days is operationally challenging because you have to procure materials and be on the site. Is there an alternative option of joining online or traveling frequently? Uh, we do understand that startups can be operationally heavy, but at the flip side, we also know that startups have multiple co-founders. Our request would be to have at least one of your co-founders be present for the program so that there is no knowledge gap that happens. The co-founders are learning about are in touch with whatever is happening within the cohort, are taking notes of all the curriculum sessions, are talking to mentors, are talking to community partners also. In one of our cases, one startup that we had, part of our community was called Sarthi. They had about 2, 3 co-founders. So one co-founder, when he was not around for a week, he requested the other co-founder to be present over here. So that is what I would suggest. Because if you're not part of the day-to-day activities, what are happening at the cohort, then this entire value add makes less sense for you. Secondly, we don't do it remote, we do it physically because we've realized remote doesn't has the same level of impact, the same level of intent, and the same level of energies that can happen in a physical cohort. And that is why
Yeah,
we're doing it this way.
engagement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Engagement, yeah. Yeah. And if the founders can't join for some reason, any senior founding team member can also join. We are not just focusing on founders. Love to have founders for sure. Prateek said build 3 is Gitansh ji. Prateek said, I think Prashant said build 3 is more into impactful ideas. I have an impactful ideation which can impact consumer market, whole D2C and B2C. We'd love to know your story. Please do apply for our programs. We'd love to get deeper into it. And during our conversations, we can figure out whether this program is a fit for you or not. Ashutosh Kumar Dwivedi. In the process of form submission, we are being asked to give references. What if anybody doesn't have any? Also, will this program accept a project at idea stage with a complete roadmap in and out? So I'll answer your second question first. We do work with just simple ideas. We are not looking for a complete roadmap. What we're looking for is your passion, your depth of argument and clarity and focus with which you want to build and give the next 20 years of your life to it. Now, answering your first question, I don't have references. We believe that by the time you're filling this form or you're part of this conversation, you've spent some part of your career either as a student or in some spaces where you've interacted with some people who might have some good or not so good things to tell about you. But some interactions would have happened, and we would love to listen from those, not just from a view that we will only take the people who write the best references for you. We want to understand holistically what are you as a person, what drives you, and what is it that comes out when you reflect your personality out there in the world and to the market. Like Batman says, it is not who we think we are, it is what we do that defines us. So that is the intention of references. So it could, and if you have very limited references, it could be a sibling, it could be a family member, it could be a teammate, it could be a student you know in the college, it could be a professor, it could be anyone that you've interacted with. Harish Mohan, what is the timeline of the application process like? So the entire end-to-end timeline, the effort-wise, it takes about 4 hours for any applicant. From short form, we'll let you know within 5 days whether we are moving to the long form or not. And from long form to interview, we'll let you know within 10 days. So the entire end-to-end, from the point you first submit your form to build3 to the point of your final interview done, is a 15 to 20-day journey, both for ideation startups and the startups that are applying right now. We're also speeding up our process because the start of the cohort data is just coming closer. So that's what is happening.
Abhi, dates. The dates you didn't say. You talked about duration of looking at the applications, but what are the key
Yeah.
dates here?
Yeah, the key dates over here right now is that we'll be closing our application form by 31st of March. So you have just about another 12, 13 days to fill up the application. The results, we have already started announcing the results, to be honest. The first shortlist has already been announced. The second shortlist is expected to go out on 25th of March, and we'll announcing the final results also by 5th of April. So, and the cohort starts 15th of April. Yeah. Yeah, Varun?
Wait, Abhi, I think you just said it's applications shut on the 31st. Applications actually shut on the 20th. Results are announced by the 31st, and people come on the 15th. Yes?
Okay. Okay. My bad. Application shut on 20th. Results are announced by 25th?
31st. 31st.
31st. Results are announced by 31st, and
So
cohort
people can
starts by
make their
15th.
travel plans and come here by the 15th, right?
Oh,
So if
shit.
you're still
Varun.
getting applications on the 31st,
Yeah,
nobody's coming by the 15th.
that's true. So you have just 4 days now. Varun deducted some time over there. What is the.
Uh,
Okay, this is. Yeah, Varun. Okay. Ashutosh Uttam is asking, can I come and stay as a visitor to learn about the whole process and just to learn? I can volunteer in any activities you're organizing in this process. We'd love to have you. Love to have you, Ashutosh. You can spend time at our co-hub spaces. You can be a part of the Build3 community, and we always love people who are willing to volunteer and learn. So please do that.
Prashant, can you put the link for CoHub in the chat, please?
Leon is asking, what does 3 in Build3 stand for? At first, I wrongly assumed it to be Web3 only. So doing better for the mind, body, and the soul. Those are the three that we are focusing on. Uh, Varun?
So building
3?
startups creatively, conscientiously through communities. That's the three descriptions to how we build. So creative, something new, something different. Conscientiously taking care of mind, body, and planet. And with community, not just trying to build ourselves, but work with people and beings around us and build together. So that's what build3 is about. And that's the three.
Awesome. When is the program starting? 15th of April, Preeti. That's when we are starting. Vikas Chaurasia, what is the average in the age in the program? In cohort 1, the average age was 29 years. Cohort 2, we might see some plus minus 2 years here and there, is what we're expecting based on the applications we are getting right now. But having said that, there is no age criteria. Like I mentioned, the youngest was 18, the eldest was 54, no age criteria until and unless you have the energy, the vibe, the passion of building something truly meaningful for the world. You're more than the Build3's door are always open for you. Mohan Babu, although I have a company registered in a concept document, I don't have a team and pretty much like starting from scratch. Just an add-on to my previous question. Apologies in advance. No, Mohan, Again, more than happy. Like we mentioned, we take founders at the ideation stage also. So even if you have a concept document ready, we would love to chat around it and would love to have you as part of this program. Average age, again, this is done. Anonymous, can you tell the credentials of people who would be guiding us? Or brilliant question. So the credentials of the people is A, the build3 team. Within the build3 team, some of us have built our own startups, in some cases multiple startups. Varun, we have built multiple startups in the past. We learn, we share from our experiences, we provide our learnings of what has gone well and what has not gone well. Similarly, the other build3 team members, they have either been part of startups themselves as founding team members or high growth startups. They come up with their strategies, their ideas about how to scale, how to build your startup. Third layer is where we help you make connections with both functional and sectoral experts. So functional experts are people who know a lot about a particular space, whether it be healthcare, fintech, B2C, D2C, or who can talk to about particular topics like GTM strategy, B2B strategies, sales strategies, branding, financial modeling, pitch deck development. So this is all the connections that happen. And then the best part, one of the best parts is also that founders who are still building, who have just raised some capital, who have scaled their startups from zero to a few hundred crores, in case thousand crores, also come and become part of the program and talk to the cohort members. In our first program, we had co-founders from Zomato, we had co-founders from Delivery, Pena Industries, who addressed the cohort. So these are the kind of people that you will be engaging with, not just during the 3 months of the cohort, but once from the cohort, you end up into the build stage and you raise money. So you can still get their support throughout your entire startup building life per se. So that's what we do. Darshini is asking for financial constrained folks who cannot afford 33K. Do we offer alternatives? Like I just said, we have the need-based scholarship that will roll out. You can apply for that. Saminder K.
So
Hey,
just
when? Yeah,
logistically, how that works. So you apply regularly. Was it Darshini?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So you apply regularly, you go through the application process, and if you're shortlisted and we request you to join the program, at that point there'll be a form that we'll roll out where you can apply for the financial aid, and we'll can take it up.
yeah. We're getting into the final 7-10 questions. The ones that I've answered, I will try to skip. Hey, when does your program start? My startup has passed the MVP stage. Program starts 15th of April. Your startup has passed the MVP stage. Awesome. If you're looking for a tech co-founder, you can find one in the program. Please do apply. Oyster E, we have already we have, I think we have been part of already two accelerators on the startups on technology and fintech. Build3 will be third accelerator. Fintech accelerator is already on equity. Build3 joins on equity also. Fintech accelerator has to align with it. Build3, yes, like I mentioned, we take certain equity depending upon what value add you get out of the program. So if you're already also getting co-founders along with being part of the program, it will be 3% equity. Does the fintech accelerator also be aligned to it? I don't think that is a requirement within the accelerators, but good to check with them. Good to let them know that you're part of Build3. It's not a requirement. Yeah, that's the answer. Architect Ashwini Pawar, thank you so much for answering all questions. I had approached Government of Goa as well for medical tourism for eco-friendly design build projects, local artisans and materials. Few private projects are also already, but finance and co-founder team I'm looking at and how to scale. And Ashwini, that's exactly what we do at Build3. We help you find a co-founder. We help you learn about scale. We put in some capital in select startups. If you don't put in, you're still part of the Build3 cycles, Build3 community. Whenever you're ready, we are ready for you, and we can also help you raise capital externally. So most of what you have written is what we do at Build3. We're also closely working with Government of Goa. They have been very helpful to offer I would say subsidies to our startup founders, so and grants also. So that's happening. Gitansh ji, I want to start a community-based app for salespeople whom are working in. Gitansh, I'm not going into detail, but all your ideas are more than welcome. Please do apply to our program, and we would love to have a sidebar chat with you and go detail into what exactly is that one thing that's driving you right now. Because I can see there are a lot of things that you mentioned. But let's talk about what's that one or two things that you would love to focus on. Ashutosh Uttam, is there any job opportunity at build3? There are a few job opportunities. Build3 Prashant has just posted the link. It's build3.org/careers. Please feel free to go over there and apply for one of them. If by any chance you meant job opportunity while you're part of the cohort and also work with build3, like I said, your energy should be focused on just this program. So that may not work out. When I'm facing some issues with my build3 login credentials, who should I approach in build3 team? Please feel free to write an email to studio@build3.org and we will immediately look into it. Studio@build3.org. Offbeat Goa. I have two social impact businesses running. One has a co-founder, one does not. Could I pitch both? Yes, you can pitch both. And perhaps you might start a third one over here. Never know. Venkatraman Sriram. Me and my partner have been working on an idea in the education space. If we both get selected in the program, that might add more value. If only one of us gets selected for the program, will it affect the investment? That's a brilliant point. We would love to have you both get into the program, and hence we will request you to apply through the as a startup. So, if you're selected as a startup, by the nature of the fact that you're a startup, all co-founders become part of the program. So, just to clarify that over here. But if you are thinking about, hey, I'm still working with a co-founder, but I still want to figure out other ideas also. That is also a possibility. But like I said, focus your energies at one place, not two.
Prashant, it might
Santosh.
be useful to show the two different links on the website at some point, or just post a screenshot somewhere.
Yeah, just immediately after this, and I'm just last question. So after this, Santosh Patra is asking. So in the form two, the last question asks to upload a video. Do we have to upload this video to YouTube and post the link? We can upload to Google Drive and share the link. Both are perfectly fine. We have observed in the past that Google Drive links, because people don't give the share rights, they forget to do that. So it's operationally cumbersome for us as well as the participants. Hence, we request YouTube. But if you're sharing through the Google Drive, make sure to share the link with everyone. So on share option, share with everyone, then share the link. Also on YouTube, you have the option to list post it as an unlisted link. What unlisted will do is it will just keep the link private, not a public one, and then you can share that link with us as well. Samir Chibber, the debt we are getting, we have to return. So it's a convertible note. You get 25 lakh rupees at a certain IRR, at a certain interest rate, which is 25%. You can return back the money to us, and then Bill3 will hold no equity in the company that is formed. But if for some reason you are not able to return the money, or you take the high growth way where you raise a lot of capital, or a time period of 10 years have ended, that is by the law that you can't keep the note for more than 10 years, in that cases, our investment turns into equity. I think from the nature of your question, the question you really want to ask is it compulsory to return the debt? Are we in an interest right now? Is this a bank? No, we are not a bank. It is not that from day one we'll give you the money and call you and ask you back for EMI. That is not what will happen. It's a convertible note. So as in when the company makes profits, after deducting the salaries of all the partners, all the founders, certain percentage of the profit is returned back to Build3. So this is how this note works out. Awesome. So we are done with the questions. Prashant, I will request you to show the participants both the links, please, so that there is clarity on how the links work.
Absolutely. So I'll be taking you through the process of applying now. I'm closing this presentation for the time being.
And do we want to give anybody a breadcrumb on how they can continue the conversation with us? Is it just studio@build3.org, or what's the best way if people have clarifications or further questions?
So we'll be sending up a follow-on email after this with all important resources and how to get in touch with us. Other than that, as Abhimanyu mentioned, studio@build3.org or contacting us on any of our social media pages is a good way to go about it. Um, I'll just share the link with everyone. So to apply or know more about our program, you can visit the link that I've shared in the description. Once you come here, you can simply choose to join the program by clicking on that button. Scroll down a little bit and you'll find this button to apply to cohort 2. Once you click on it, you'll be given two options, which is applying as either an ideation stage founder that we discussed when you haven't formed your startup yet and you still have an impact idea that you want to make a startup out of. You click on this button, which will take you to our portal, or you click on, or if you're a pre-PMF founder who already has a startup and is looking to scale it further from there, or fine tuning for a market fit, then this track would be recommended for you. Now, please note that both these forms are separate. So please choose carefully between which track is correct for you. This is applicable to applicants who have not started their process yet. For those of you who have already started your process, either on the portal or via the form for the pre-PMF track, please continue the process by either going to the portal or um, corresponding with our team via email.
Yep. So FAQs are on the website. The partnership approach and terms document that is coming on the website. You can email to us at studio@build3.org. These are three options. You can go to our social media pages. You can ask your questions over there. We'll also try and figure out a way of doing an offline AMA. So maybe on one of the pages, Prashant will work towards it. You can just go over there, ask your questions, and we'll post your answers within 24 hours. So these are some measures through which you can reach out to us. Just an FYI, 20th of March is when the applications are closing for this cohort. Please make your applications within the next 2 or 3 days, or I would suggest immediately after this session.
Yeah, it takes less than 15 minutes to do your first application.
That's true. Some
All
people are
right.
raising their hands. Prashant, is it possible to Sumesh? No? Okay. All
Actually,
right.
Abhi,
Yeah, yeah,
so nothing more
yeah,
to
yeah.
raise. We'll
Perfect.
converse with you.
This was great.
Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Thank you to all participants from Team Build3 and all attendees. We hope to see you here super soon. And more importantly, we're looking forward to your form submission. Thank you.
Somebody's asked, sorry, last minute question. I've submitted my form. Is there possibility to edit it? Prashant, Kritika.